gives me great pleasure to introduce fellow board member Therese DeMuzio, who will sing God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Congratulations to all the recipients of the Gavin Cushing Awards, and God bless everybody.
I now wish to welcome everyone to the 55th Annual Cushing Gavin Award celebration. Let me be the first to congratulate our 4 awardees: Marjorie Whitner, Joseph Nolan, Keith McCowan, and Joseph Delory. We give special thanks to our presenting sponsors. Our platinum sponsors are 617 Media, the HYM Investment Group LLP, the Massachusetts Nurses Association, Keegan Worlin LLP, New England Mechanical Contracting MCA, United Steelworkers Local 12003, Ironworkers District Council of New England LMCT, the Massachusetts AFL-CIO, Pipefitters Local 537, Teamsters Local 25, McDonald, Lamond, Canzanieri, Morgan Brown and Joy LLP, Eversource Energy, Ulico. Our gold sponsors are Sanduli Grace PC, North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, the Boyle family, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Massachusetts Labor Relations, the AFL-CIO Housing Trust, Building Trades Employers Association, the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 4, the Massachusetts Building Trades Council, Modern Assistance Programs, North Atlantic States Carpenters Labor Management Program, Thornton Law Firm LLP, CENA, Local 9158 United Steelworkers, Siegel Reutman, LLP, Heat and Frost Insulators Local 6, the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades District Council 35, the Metropolitan Building Trades, Laborers Local 22, the UAW Region 9A, Massachusetts CAP Council, Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, and Lehane, LLP. We're delighted to welcome the Archbishop of Boston, His Eminence Sean Cardinal O'Malley.
Good evening to all gathered for the 2021 Archdiocese of Boston Labor Guild Cushing Gavin Awards. I join all of you in congratulating Marjorie Whitner, Joseph Delory, Joseph Nolan Jr., and Keith McCown as we recognize their contribution to productive relationships between management and labor, and their representation of the men and women who each day work to make our communities better and safer places for all of us. This evening I wish to express our gratitude for the dedication of David Kowalski, who in recent years generously stepped forward to serve as the executive director of the Guild and president of the board. David gives extensive time and effort to advocate for his brethren in labor, always holding fast to the principles of equity and opportunity for the membership. The contemporary era of our national economy continues to be a time of significant disparity, with increasing amount of extraordinary wealth and benefits being aggregated to an ever smaller group of people. The Catholic Church has always held fair distribution of the products of work to be at the foundation of a just and productive society. Your support of the Labor Guild helps us to continue that mission, to ensure that working men and women have a place at the table. God bless all of you. Be assured of my prayers, and may the example and intercession of St. Joseph the Worker guide us in all of our efforts going forward. God bless all of you.
Thank you, Cardinal O'Malley. Please welcome the Secretary of Labor of the United States, the Honorable Martin Walsh.
Thank you, David, and everyone at the Labor Guild, and everyone who supports Labor Guild. I wish I could greet you live tonight. I've been to many Cushing Gavin Awards in the past, and this event means a lot to me. I want to thank all my friends and former colleagues that are there tonight, and all of you support things I care deeply about: strong unions, good management, and a productive labor management relationship. The Labor Guild is effective because it's a community built around values. You understand that everyone deserves dignity, respect, and our relationships truly do matter. You build on the concepts of community to create mentorships, education, and strong values in the leaders of today and tomorrow. You certainly see these qualities in tonight's Cushing Gavin Award winners. Marjorie Whitner has spent her career fighting for discrimination in the workplace and correcting unfair labor practices. Joseph Delory has been a champion for union members and working people for over 4 decades. My friend Joe Nolan Jr. has led Eversource into the future with successful investments in offshore wind, battery storage, electric vehicles, and other innovative technology. And Kevin McGowan has distinguished himself as one of the most effective labor and employment attorneys in the country. We need all these leaders' qualities today more than ever. We're at a historic moment in the labor movement for working people and for our country. The president has signed the infrastructure bill into law, and we are closer than ever to building that Build Back Better agenda and make sure it comes across the finish line. We're going to create millions of good union jobs all across this country, and we're going to partner with industries on climate investments that protect our children's future. We're going to put working families back at the center of our economy, and I'm working every day to make sure all jobs are good jobs with fair wages, safe conditions, and the rights to organize. Members of the Guild have helped shape the knowledge and values I bring to my current role at this important moment in history. So I want to thank you all for all the work that you do. I want to thank you for allowing me to participate virtually tonight. I want to congratulate once again all the honorees, and I hope to see you all very soon. Thank you, God bless, and good night.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce our Labor and Management co-chairs. Lou Mandarini, the Secretary-Treasurer of the Massachusetts AFL-CIO, and Business Manager Secretary-Treasurer of Laborers Local 22, and Thomas O'Brien, Founding Partner and Managing Director of HYM Investments.
I'm honored to serve as one of the co-chairs in the 2021 Cushing Gavin Awards event. It's a pleasure to serve as co-chair with Tom O'Brien, Managing Director of HYM Investment Group. I've had the occasion to deal with Tom most recently in the discussion around the project labor agreement for Suffolk Downs redevelopment, a project that will benefit unionized men and women in the building trades for decades to come. Tom's career in Boston exemplifies the highest and best ideals of the Archdiocese of the Boston Labor Guild, labor and management working in cooperation and mutual respect to move forward Boston and its working families. In addition to recognizing Tom, I'd like to give a warm round of congratulations to this year's Cushing Gavin Awards recipients, Union Side Attorney Joe Delory, Management Attorney Keith McCowan, Eversource CEO Joe Nolan, and Boyle Award winner Marjorie Whitner. Tonight's award winners have worked in different roles in the labor management space, but they have all made lasting contributions and richly deserve the honors they are receiving. The work of the Labor Guild has never been more vital than it is right now. We are seeing a resurgence of activity in the labor movement and greater union activism than at any time in recent decades. Workers are looking to make their mark on unions they belong to shape those unions and to become leaders of those unions. For more than 50 years, the Labor Guild has given union men and women the education and skills they need to advance to make a difference in the labor movement. Here's hoping that the Labor Guild continues to fulfill this crucial role in another 50 years and more.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom O'Brien, and I'm with the HYM Investment Group. On behalf of my friend Lou Mandarini, who's our co-chair tonight, I want to say thank you very much for everybody for being here. I absolutely would love to start off, though, by congratulating our four wonderful awardees, Marjorie Whitner, Joe Delory, my friend Joe Nolan, and Keith McCown. Congratulations on all the great work that you do. You know, as we sit here tonight, the most important thing that we can all say to one another is the work that we do is about the individuals and the people that we care so much about. Lou and I and the work that we do together in our business is about building buildings. That's what we try to do together. But at the end of the day, just building the buildings isn't really what matters. What matters is trying to make sure that we offer opportunity for individuals, for people. And that's why the Guild was created. That's why the Guild is rooted in the most basic tenets of our faith. That at the end of the day, when you pay attention to the Gospels and you think carefully about what the Gospels are trying to teach us and what the Catholic Church is trying to teach us, it's about us trying to pay attention to individuals and people and their advancement. So at the end of the day, congratulations to all of you, and congratulations to the work that we do by offering more opportunity for young people, for women, for people of color, and particularly as we offer those opportunities for those people in the building trades. That's a place where people can get up every day, know that they have a great place to work, know that they have great benefits, know that they have a predictable life ahead of them, and that we as employers and people who care about management, we can have predictably build projects that are done safely and well, proudly done by members of the building trades unions across Boston. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for all the great work that you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lou and Tom. We are grateful for your co-chairing this virtual event. I now turn the podium over to my dear friend and tireless fighter for social justice, our Labor Guild President and Executive Director, Dave Kowalski.
Thank you, Paul. On behalf of the Guild's board, I'd like to thank everyone for attending and supporting this event. Thank you to everyone who has helped make this night possible. Our friends and co-chairs, Lou Mandarini and Tom O'Brien, thank you so much for lending your credibility and your names to our prestigious event. We appreciate it so much. Our CGA committee, our executive chair, Kevin Carter, our Guild treasurer, Tom Kerr, Eileen Norton, Alyssa Cadlick, Lisa Field, Marty Callahan, Paul McCarthy, Steve Finnegan, and our board members. We appreciate their help. The Guild's dedicated staff, of course, the heart and the soul of the Labor Guild, Mary Gendrolas, our administrative associate, Maureen Callahan, and our Father Ed Boyle Fellows, both past and present, Joe Toyner and Jack Fell. Our mission here at the Labor Guild is pretty simple: to promote good order and justice in today's workplace by inspiring, motivating, educating, and assisting men and women to act in good conscience, knowledge, and courage in all aspects of labor management relations, which is centered around the quest for economic and social justice. The three-legged foundation of the Labor Guild that it stands on is our membership, our faculty, and the Catholic Church. Without the interaction of all three of these, we could not exist. Where we are a labor management organization, we want very much to expand our reach to include more management interest and input within the Labor Guild organization. And to reflect that, this year our executive board has included two new management members to join our longtime board member, Jack Wolf from Moore Associates. The board felt it was time to be more inclusive to our management colleagues with whom we so mutually agree and engage. Our main objective is still to engage and educate workers to be better prepared to achieve fairness in the workplace while negotiating with their counterparts. Our executive board has felt strongly about promoting our educational product. We feel that the Labor Guild, if it is to thrive, we need to promote the hunger we see for our product online via the internet. We seek an environment where students anywhere in the country can take a course whenever it's convenient for them with the convenience of a credit card. We have a unique product, a product that is in demand in this economic and social climate. If we could distribute this product on a large scale nationally, it would have a positive impact on our fundraising. My time here at the Labor Guild has been one of the most worthwhile things I have ever done, with the most wonderful people I have ever had the honor to work with. I have employed all of the skills I have to get us on track for the future, and I feel we were successful in doing that. Unfortunately, the new technical skills to take us to the next level will take more than the knowledge I possess, which provides me a proper opportunity for me to take my exit at the end of the year. I will remain on the executive board to continue to help guide the Guild into the future. For the future of the Labor Guild, we have found a dedicated practitioner of our cause. Father Mark Fallon comes to us after many years of fighting for interest in working with our most vulnerable workers in the New Bedford area, as well as serving at the Veterans Hospital in West Roxbury. The Guild is thrilled to have a priest once again on board in our mission of economic and social justice. I will do everything I can to help Father Mark make a smooth transition into his new role. It has been my honor and a labor of love to serve at the Labor Guild. Thank you. Now for the reasons we're here this evening. Tonight represents our most important fundraising event of the year, and we thank you for continually supporting us here at the Guild. The Labor Guild is about, as I said many times, economic and social justice. It is also about recognizing good and responsible management who also need to prosper in the same environment. We aim to produce an atmosphere that is conducive to both parties. We are here to honor 4 people who, through a lifetime of commitment and dedication, have produced a body of work which deserves to be honored and respected by the peers. Let me announce our first awardee, Marjorie Whitner.
Thank you again, Dave, and thank you so much to the Labor Guild and the former Cushing Gavin recipients for honoring me with the Father Boyle Award. One of the many lovely things that has happened to me since I learned that I was receiving this award has been meeting and working with Dave Kowalski. From our first call when he gave me the good news, to his thoughtful interview, from my bio, and to his agreeing to come to my home in Salem to pre-record this speech. Dave, or Kowalski as he's known, exemplifies what a fine organization the Labor Guild is, so committed to its mission of serving, educating, and honoring the labor management community since 1945. In fact, something that Dave wrote to me helped inspire the theme for these remarks. When Dave first broke the news to me, I was completely surprised and perhaps a little over-exuberant. Think Sally Field at the Oscars. In his follow-up letter, Dave congratulated me again and then advised me to take a deep breath and let it all absorb. Breathing deeply, of course, is a way of restoring inner balance. And as I look back on my career, so much of it has been striving to achieve the right balance, balancing the rights and privileges of labor and management, balancing the different viewpoints of my other SERB members, and last, but certainly not least, balancing my work life with my home life. And I've been so very fortunate to have mentors and colleagues, and an incredibly supportive husband and kids, without whom I could not have achieved any of this. As I'm sure many of you know, the Department of Labor Relations, or the DLR, and the entity that I have chaired since 2008, the Commonwealth Employment Relations Board, the appeals body of the DLR, enforces and interprets the Commonwealth's collective bargaining laws, the Public Sector Statute, Chapter 150E, and Chapter 150A, which was enacted in 1937, a sort of baby Wagner Act. Chapter 150A addresses the need for balance right in its first paragraph, stating as a matter of public policy that imbalances in bargaining power between employers and employees can lead to disruptive labor disputes. And to address those imbalances and reduce or minimize the disputes, the legislature granted to certain employees the freedom of choice to organize into labor unions, and if they so chose, to have those unions bargain collectively on their behalf. The enabling legislation that amended Chapter 150E in 2007 similarly states that the best interests of the public are served by the prevention or prompt settlement of labor disputes, and it charged the DLR and its components, including the CERB and the JLMC, with making sure that that happens. And so it has been my privilege and honor since 2001, in a variety of different capacities, both at the LRC and then as CERB chair, to resolve whatever imbalances in relationships, be it between labor and management, between union and their members, that leads one of the parties to file an unfair labor practice charge. And it stands to reason that in order for that process to work, the parties must trust that the decision makers perform these duties in an impartial, independent, and balanced way. Conversely, it also stands to reason that the more balanced you are, the more stable you are. And I'd like to believe I'm receiving this award because my board has struck the right balance in its decisions by producing a stable and predictable body of work that the parties can use as guideposts, not only in their day-to-day dealings, but when trying to navigate disruptive events like the Great Recession of 2008 and 2009 and the devastating and ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. And as anyone who dances or takes yoga knows, a key component of achieving good balance is having a strong core. And the core of the DLR is its staff. I have been so fortunate throughout my career to work with an incredibly strong group of committed, smart, hardworking public servants whose contribution to the agency and the law cannot be overstated. I'm speaking in particular of longtime hearing officers Margaret Sullivan and Susan Atwater, whose encyclopedic knowledge of the law and generosity with their time, knowledge, and insights have helped me so much over the years. And of course, there's Ed Schreck-Nicky, former executive secretary and acting director, who knows, well, just about everything about the history and running of this agency. And I have to give a shout out to Kim Eustace and Shirley DeMarco, our admins and election runners for 30 years, who are all like family to me. And of course, my lengthy tenure as chair would not have been possible without the able assistance and insight of my CERB members, past and present. My first set of board members, arbitrator Liz Newmeyer and Professor Harris Freeman, who helped refine my decision writing skills and helped me avoid these long run-on sentences, such as the one I am speaking right now. Subsequent CERB members Katie Lev and Joan Ackerstein, who comprised the first entirely female board, and now Kelly Strong has joined my board. They all have different backgrounds and skill sets in the labor and employment field. We have had differences of opinion, yet through continuous efforts to balance our views into a single coherent and well-supported decision, we have achieved consensus in all but a handful of our decisions. And I thank the CERB and all of my chief counsels for their patience with my edits, rewrites, and tendency to overthink. And regarding work-life balance, I'm grateful to have worked for so many years in the public sector for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, which, unlike the first law firm I worked in after law school, has adopted policies on part-time work that gave me some work-life balance when my children were young. And I also owe so much to my husband of 33 years, Ben, for his unwavering love and support in helping raise our two great kids, Michael and Allie, who were only 11 and 7 when I began working for the Labor Relations Commission. They're now accomplished young adults working as a journalist and with kids with special needs. I am so very proud of them. They teach me something every day, and more importantly, they are good to their very core. But I am also very proud to be receiving this award from a group of labor relations luminaries that includes attorneys who have practiced before the CERB, former members of the DLR Advisory Council, and neutrals like past and present JLMC chairs Rick Riley and John Hansen, and former Labor Relations Commission commissioners like Joan Dolan and Labor Guild faculty member Jim Cooper, who, coincidentally, or maybe not, was one of the commissioners in the 1977 City of Danvers decision that established a balancing test for determining whether a particular topic was a mandatory subject of bargaining. And I also can't forget Professor Tom Koken, who literally wrote the textbook on collective bargaining that was required reading when I attended Cornell ILR School in the 80s. That I am now part of this distinguished group of labor relations luminaries still feels somewhat unreal. But I'm going to take a deep breath and thank them, and Dave, and the rest of the Labor Guild for this honor one last time. Congratulations also to my fellow awardees this year. I'm looking forward to working with all of you next year, hopefully in person. Thank you.
Our second awardee, Joe Nolan.
Thank you, David. I'm very honored to receive the award from the Labor Guild. I know that many distinguished and talented people have received the Cushing Gavin Award, including 3 other great honorees this year. I'm honored and proud to be in their company. At Eversource, it's absolutely vital that we maintain positive, productive labor relationships. About half our workforce is represented by unions: the Utility Workers of America, the IBEW, and the United Steelworkers.
Our next awardee, Keith McCown.
Just seconds ago, I said to David, this is the best thing I've ever won. Thanks to the Labor Guild for all the hard work you do, and thanks to David Kowalski and his staff. They do all this work every year on this annual event. They do a lot of other things too. And I think I have a special thanks to the past Cushing Gavin awardees, who I understand actually pick the new awardees every year in some kind of secret cabal. So I guess I'll learn more about that ritual next year when I am a past awardee. But for now, this is indeed a great honor. It's an especially great honor for me because, let's face it, this is an especially Bostonian or New England kind of thing. It's a very local award, regional at most. And if you talk to me for more than a few minutes, I usually end up mentioning that I did not grow up here. You can tell by the way I pronounce awardee, for one thing. I grew up in Cleveland. I'm still a Browns fan. And to win this particularly local award is really a great honor for somebody who can't claim any roots in any parish around these parts. So, my parents raised me right out there in Cleveland, and when you win an award, you gotta thank people personally who helped you along the way. And of course, when you win an award like this, you better take a stab at some learned wisdom or maybe some platitudes after the thank yous. So, let's start with the thank yous. Of course, I have to thank my wife, Sandra Einsel. I would not have done this, could not have done this without Sandra. 41 years of marriage so far, and we're going strong. And of course, those kind of thanks also go out to our 2 children, our son Aaron and our daughter Eva. They were raised by 2 working parents with very demanding careers, and they both came out all right. So aside from family, I have to give thanks to a lot of people who taught me so much in this career. And it's always difficult to single out people because you might forget somebody. But I'm going to give it a try, and I'll be careful. It's easy enough to start by thanking all the people I've been working with at Morgan, Brown & Joyce since 1982. Thanks to you all. I have learned so many things from my fellow lawyers there and the rest of the crew as well. And over the years, we've managed to have a great working atmosphere, a lot of camaraderie, and a lot of laughs. We are fond of saying that we take our work seriously, but we don't take ourselves very seriously. I think that's actually a quote from Bob Joy. I do have to give special thanks to Maureen Fody, who was my secretary from 1985 until she retired in April of 2020 and moved to Florida. We worked together 35 years. So thanks to everyone at Morgan, Brown & Joy, but special thanks to Maureen Fody. And another easy list of people I can thank by name are past Cushing Gavin Award winners. Many of them, as I was going down the list, have had important parts and important roles in my career. 3 happen to be partners, or were partners, or are partners at Morgan, Brown and Joy. Bill Joy Sr., Phil Boyle, and Bob Joy, who is still a partner. Thanks to all of you for being such great teachers and colleagues. And it's good to join your ranks here at the Cushing Gavin Awards ceremony. There are a number of other past winners I need to thank because I learned so much, again, from you as I came along in this career. Let's start with Paul Kelly, Ann Sills, and Bob Manning, who were all attorney winners of this award. 3 of my absolute favorite opponents from the union side of the street. And there are some very distinguished neutrals among past winners who have had a big impact on my career. Larry Holden, Joan Dolan, Roberta Golick, and even going back to Jim Healy and Bill Fallon. These are fine arbitrators who helped me to be a better attorney, too. So, thanks to all of those previous Cushing Gavin Award winners, you received this very same award in your day, at your time, and it's an honor to be here for me, standing in your collective stead. Then there's the clients. A lot of thanks to clients who also taught me so many things over the years. This is where I will miss somebody if I start naming names, so I'm going to be more general and careful about this one. There are so many people at Boston Edison, NSTAR, Eversource. I've been doing work for the Edison, as they used to call it, since 1982, before it morphed into NSTAR and then morphed again into Eversource. And of course, it's even more of an honor to be winning this award the same year as Joe Nolan, the CEO of Eversource. But I can also thank a lot of people at other clients too. People at the Steamship Authority, people at Bay State Gas, which is now part of Eversource, many people at Stop and Shop over the last several years, and even people at the Lottery Commission now where I've been doing some work. That's a short list, only naming a few. It's been an honor and a constant learning experience working with all of my clients like that. Everyone has taught me something, how to be a better lawyer, and in many cases, those lessons are still going on. So that's the thank you part of the speech. Here's the wisdom part of the speech. Being a good labor lawyer and being in a church choir have a lot in common. Why, you might ask? Well, as a labor lawyer, you're mostly an advisor. Yeah, there's a lot of disputes, and sometimes you are a trial lawyer, and you fight about stuff with the other side. But in labor law, labor relations, the deal is really everything. Working with a group to get a deal done. Now that does sound a little bit like a church choir. Sandra and I began singing in a pretty good little church choir about 15 years ago. I had not been in any choir since junior high school, so it was pretty new to me. And this little church choir had some very good singers, at least 4 or 5 really good soloists. So early on in my choir experience, I was talking to one of the soloists, a baritone guy with a big, beautiful voice. And I told him at one point how great it was just to stand next to him and sing alongside him with that big, beautiful voice covering up my voice, frankly. And he looked at me a little puzzled. And he said, every choir needs blenders. The choir wouldn't sound good at all without all the blending voices. And I think that's kind of how I view my role as a labor lawyer and an advisor. I'm not a soloist very often. I'm a blender, one of the blending voices most of the time, trying to get a group to produce a good performance, trying to get the deal, creating harmony, you might say. I might be singing one note and my opponent might be singing another note, but if we sing it right, it produces a chord, it produces harmony. So I was looking at the list of past Cushing Gavin awardees, and some are big stars. They were soloists. But most of the past winners, I don't think were really the big stars. They were the blending voices in their choirs. This award is remarkable because it can often go to the blenders in the choir. The important people who keep things together, who bring people together, who make the choir sound like a choir, who create harmony. So I'm especially grateful to win an award that has room to honor a blending voice, like me. Cushing Gavin is the kind of award that can go to Keith Richards, not just Mick Jagger, or to Keith McCown, a little kid from Cleveland who moved to Boston a long time ago, just to go to law school. So thank you very much. I am proud and honored to win this.
Our final awardee, Joe Delory.
First of all, to address the parties involved in the way of saying thank you, first and foremost is the Archdiocese and the Guild. Your contributions to the labor movement are an extraordinary asset and certainly well appreciated. As to the role of the church with labor, for a little historical perspective, and I want to do a little reading because I want to get this language right. In 1891, then Pope Leo XIII issued a papal encyclical or position paper called Rerum Novarum, meaning of new things. And here's a pertinent part. Workers and employers ought to be free to negotiate and come to an agreement, but natural justice must ensure that wages are sufficient to support a frugal and well-behaved wage earner. To ensure these rights and duties are maintained, workers' associations ought to exist to work towards this common good. Now, for a practical application of this policy of the church, as Dave said, I was in Hawaii for a while, and the traditional downtown contract building cleaners was within our jurisdiction. We figured we'd use the church as a means to reach out to the community workers, and we set up a meeting to talk with the Archbishop and his designee. Myself and a couple of colleagues from Honolulu met with these folks, and they had a layman as their lawyer who said, gee, I don't think the church really wants to get involved in something this controversial maybe at this juncture. And then my colleague turns to the cleric in the room and says, isn't there a papal encyclical where the church commits to helping labor organizations? That's the policy of the church. And the lawyer frowned and the cleric smiled, and that was a practical application of Rerum Novarum. Another practical application of Rerum Novarum and the church's commitment to the labor tenets is the Labor Guild itself, a tremendous organization advancing a noble tenet of the church, and I take great pride in being honored by you folks. Next, I'd like to address my fellow award winners. First of all is Marjorie Whitner, who I've known for decades, and I hold her in the highest and dearest regard. She's a woman of singular scholarship and a woman of immense patience, particularly if I need an extension of time to get a brief filed. I have not met my other two fellow awardees. Mr. McCown works for a fabulous law firm on the management side with whom I've done a lot of business and had a lot of laughs. So class tells you come from a great bunch, and I'm proud to share the dais with you. Then there's Joe Nolan. And I'll say to Dave Kowalski, when I heard the name Joe Nolan, I said, geez, I wonder if he's any relation to Professor Nolan from the SJC, who I had for criminal law at Suffolk Law back in '72. And it's his dad. And his father was very, very outgoing, entertaining, and had a great smile. So, Brother Nolan, I'm sure your dad's looking down and smiling now. You come from a great family. Let's take another look where we are. As to those who have received the award before us, the list is replete with many friends and colleagues and some of the deceased giants in the movement who've gone to their reward. To all of you, living and dead, slide down a little bit. The class of 21 is in the house. Neutrals. In addition to Marjorie, I acknowledge all the neutrals before whom I've had a chance to appear over the decades. Whether you're arbitrators or administrators or court appointees, you provide a great service in settling troubling disputes in a civilized and efficient manner. For those of you who are private arbitrators, to the extent you can do it for less than $2,000 a day, all the better. But seriously, thank you all again. We've had a lot of laughs, solved some problems, and so to advance the common good. To the management representatives, please appreciate that when both sides are in a caucus, we're dealing with our individuals with a whip and a chair the same way you have to deal with yours. We have a lot more in common than we have in distinction. And to the extent we interact and expend energy, let's do the best we can to generate light instead of heat, because that would be the practical definition of good faith. One item I can share with you all, I had occasion to talk to a very highly regarded and deservedly so labor lawyer a couple of years ago and asked about a management rep with whom I was going to be interacting fairly soon. And this person pondered a minute and says, well, geez, I've never negotiated against him. And as I think back, I don't think I've ever negotiated against anybody. I think that's a bit of a contradiction in terms. So you negotiate with, not against. And finally, management, if it wasn't for us, there wouldn't be you. And as my good friend Jim Cooper always says, thank God for labor unrest. It keeps us all on the payroll. Now, the union representatives, to all my brothers and sisters, as Steve Tolman would say, I can't think of a better way to address one another than as brothers and sisters. We're all part of the labor movement. Not the labor industry, not the labor business, not the labor racket, but the labor movement. A movement of historical and consequential consequence, of which I find myself proud to call myself a member.